Congratulate you. You have invested in an education that will change your financial path forever. The information in this manual will provide you with all the necessary tools for you to generate a serious income for you and your family. Before we get started, I want to let you know a little about me and how I got started in my real estate investing career. Growing up, I idolized my father, and I still do. I could probably write a book about the different business ventures I saw my father get involved in. When I was a kid, I always played with the doodads my dad picked up from various multi-level marketing companies. Most of these businesses were not successful. However, one day my father found a business that made him a millionaire within a year's time. I remember a year before he found his successful business, we were sitting at the electric company trying to work out a payment plan because we hadn't paid our bill in 6 months. Needless to say, after my father found his millionaire business, we never had to go back to that electric company again to ask for an extension. My father was able to support various orphanages abroad, build an alcohol and drug rehabilitation center on Long Island, New York, and pay for the construction of a new building for the church we attended. Through thick and thin, my father never had a real job. No matter what time of day it was, we could always throw the ball in the backyard, we could go for a swim at the wreck, grab a slice of New York Sicilian pizza, or go fishing in our backyard. My dad was always around no matter the state of our finances. I will always treasure the days we spent together, while other dads were stuck commuting to New York City. My father had money and had time to spend with his family. Somewhere along the line, my father told me to go to college, get good grades, and get a great paying job. This was the exact opposite of what he had done. I still have no idea why he wanted me to have a regular job, but we both laugh about it now. After going to college in Michigan, I drove to California with $300 in my pocket. I sold alarms door to door to generate some income while I looked for a job. I finally nailed a job with a large pharmaceutical company selling Viagra. I was fresh out of college, making great money, eating at fine restaurants, entertaining doctors, and yet I was miserable. I was tired of wearing a suit every day. I was tired of pretending I loved the corporate world, and I was tired of sitting in meetings that nobody wanted to be in. I decided I had to get out. I wanted to be like my dad, and get out of corporate America. I didn't want to go through a million businesses to find my million. I always heard that real estate was an amazing way to generate income, and I wanted to find a way to get involved. I went to Barnes & Noble's bookstore and found my first book on real estate investing. I finished the book in 12 hours, and the rest is history. I would love to tell you that my real estate investing career went flawlessly. I did not earn $1 million in my first 60 days, although I did make $40,000. I read all the books and spent a ton of money on seminars. I made some money, made some mistakes, lost some money, and repeated the cycle. It was not until I found a mentor that I became an investor that had made it. Today my family and I live the lifestyle we have always dreamed of. We live in San Diego, California, and do what we want, when we want. I swim in La Jolla Cove several times a week, train for triathlons, grab lunch with family anytime I want, and I swim in La Jolla Cove several times a week, train for triathlons, grab lunch with family anytime I want, and take a vacation anytime we feel inclined. The material possessions are fine and dandy. If you take the tools that I give you in this course and apply them, you can make a lot of money. However, the lifestyle that you can generate for yourself will far outweigh the Mercedes in the driveway. Are you ready to make your first check in lease purchasing? Are you ready to live the lifestyle you have dreamed of? Okay, then let's get that first 5-figure paycheck in your hand within the next 30 days. Why lease purchasing? Confession time. I didn't start out investing in real estate using the lease purchase strategies I describe in this course. Instead, I dealt with the fix and flips, traditional rentals, and foreclosures. I did have some success, but I wasn't getting rich the way those late-night infomercials promised. Though many investors make a killing using the methods I describe above, these methods weren't for me. I grew tired of presenting ridiculously low offers to sellers, losing money on rehabs, and dealing with deadbeat tenants. If I didn't find a new way to invest in real estate, I was going to fail. One night after driving to a property and having a seller reject my ridiculously low offer, I felt a little down on real estate investing. I thought about what I really wanted for my business and for my lifestyle. I decided I needed to come up with an investing strategy that would give me and my family the time and financial freedom we desired. Sound like fantasy land? Throughout this course, I am going to tell you to be crazy, to be different, to challenge your beliefs that real estate has to be difficult. Lease purchasing can bring you wealth, the time to enjoy it, and the satisfaction that you can help people along the way. I am so glad I did not give up that night, because lease purchasing changed my investment business forever. What is a lease purchase? A lease purchase is a lease in which the tenant, referred to as the tenant buyer, has the right to purchase a piece of property during a specified amount of time. The key point is that a lease purchase is the right to purchase the property. In most lease purchase contracts, some amount of money is paid to the seller for this option to purchase. In most cases, we give the seller very little money, sometimes as little as $1. If we don't buy the home, we lose our money. Risky, I know. But this is what makes lease purchasing so attractive. Okay, so how do we make money? We utilize multiple strategies that allow us to employ several profit streams. The strategy we use depends on the seller's situation, the financial details of the property, your risk tolerance, and your personal goals. Benefits to lease purchasing. Lease purchasing does not require down payment money, bank qualifying, or credit checks. Lease purchasing does not require you to make ridiculous offers to sellers which they will not likely accept. Lease purchasing has little risk compared to most investing strategies and businesses. Your lease purchase business can generate several five-figure paychecks per month for you and your family. Lease purchasing can provide a residual income, so you don't have to work 50 hours a week. Lease purchasing can enable you to work from a home office 95% of the time, so you can spend time with your family without having to answer to anybody. Lease purchasing. The motivated seller has a compelling reason to sell his property but cannot. The great thing about lease purchasing is that we only deal with desirable properties. We don't have to lock up rehabs, deal with homes in war zones, or settle for homes with design issues. We can deal in mansions, single-family homes, townhouses, condos, or any other piece of property that a tenant buyer would want to live in. If you have a good property and a motivated seller, you have the beginnings of a great lease purchase deal. If you love to punish yourself with garbage properties, I can't stop you. However, I won't be teaching you how to do it in this course. Because we deal with motivated sellers and desirable properties, we make more money, have more fun, and close more deals. Motivated seller. There are three main parties in a lease purchase deal. Lease purchase. The tenant buyer. The investor. The motivated seller. Most families want to own their own homes. A tenant buyer is somebody who wants to get into a home today, but cannot qualify for a loan. There were a few years between 2000 to 2005 where anybody could get a loan to buy a property. Banks were extremely reckless and were loaning money to anybody with a heartbeat. Since the mortgage meltdown that started in 2005, we have bounced back to a normal lending market. The average family will have difficulty qualifying for a home loan. The current trend will only help your lease purchase business. Several reasons a family fails to qualify for a loan are: 1. Lack of a 10%-20% down payment. 2. Past credit issues from medical bills. 3. Self-employed without the ability to document income. 4. Bankruptcy. 5. Past foreclosure or short sale. 6. No credit history. 7. The deadbeat tenant. Some tenant buyers don't realize they can qualify for loans. When we help these buyers qualify, it translates into a big payday. The tenant buyer. This is you, the person who is smart enough to buy this course and invest in your business and education. As we work through the course, I will coach you in your role as an investor, and you will learn that each of these strategies has variations. 1. We find a motivated seller that needs a solution to a real estate problem. Unlike other strategies, A seller does not need to be desperate to do a deal with you. 2. We lock up the property on a lease purchase using little or no money. 3. We find an occupant for the property that wants to own his own home, but cannot qualify for a loan. 4. We collect an upfront payment from this tenant buyer, usually between 2%-6% of the purchase price. 5. We sublease for monthly cash flow and large profits at the end of the deal, sell the contract, or move into the property if your spouse falls in love with it. 6. Depending on the strategy we used above, we can do another deal or continue to enjoy profit streams for years to come. There are many different strategies that we use in lease purchasing. Each strategy offers different profit streams. However, all involve a seller putting a tenant buyer into the property. The investor. Lease purchasing. Strategy 1. Subletting sandwich, aka subletting, the motivated seller. Marianne, motivated seller, has a property in a great area of town. Since she lives out of state, she was previously managing the property from across the country. Her last tenant skipped out after not paying the last month's rent. Marianne now has a vacant property. She puts the property on the market and the property sits for 6 months. Marianne is motivated. On a scale of 1-10, I give her a 9 on motivation. Let's take a break for a second. I want you to ask yourself what Marianne's motivation is. It may have been to sell the property at first, but after making payments on a vacant property for 6 months, things have changed. Her main motivation has shifted to monthly debt relief. I don't know about you, but I don't like to make mortgage payments on vacant properties. If you do it long enough, it could become an alligator and eat you alive. Situations like this drove me to lease purchasing in the first place. This means that we agree to pay Marianne $1,500 a month, take care of all the day-to-day maintenance on the property, and we have the right to buy the property for $280,000 anytime in the next 3 years. A small discount off retail price is perfectly reasonable to ask for. We now control a great property for 3 years with little to no money down. Woohoo! Our next step, run ads or go to our buyers list to find our tenant buyer. We price the property fairly and find a tenant buyer within 10 days. Your lease purchase glands should be starting to salivate. Marianne, what if we could lease your property for a period of time, take care of all the day-to-day maintenance, and buy the property at the end of 2 years without you having to pay a real estate commission or closing costs? Marianne's current numbers. Payments, $1,500 PD. Value, $300,000 owes, $150,000. Our proposal to Marianne. The deal we negotiate with Marianne. Rent payments, $1,500 purchase price, $280,000 term, 3 years option money, $1. The sandwich aka subletting, the tenant buyer strategy 1. Subletting. We sublease to Tommy, tenant buyer, using completely different agreements. Rent payments, $2,000. Purchase price, $310,000. Term, 1 year option money, $10,000 rent credits, $1,000. We use rent credits to drastically reduce management hassles on a property. We credit the tenant buyer a portion of their rent towards the purchase price of the home. The tenant buyer will only receive this credit if rent is received on the first of the month or before. I like to give thick and juicy rent credits. I do this for 2 reasons. 1. We rarely get rent payments on the second of the month. 2. Huge rent credits will also attract more tenant buyers. Rent credits. Motivated seller, tenant buyer. $1,500, $2,000. $280,000, $310,000, 3 years, 1 year. $1, $10,000, $0, $1,000. Rent price term option money rent credits per month. Wait a minute. We're earning $500 a month. Yup. That's $500 positive cash flow on a property we don't even own. We also made $10,000 in an upfront option consideration. Note that this money is 100% applied to the purchase of the home if the tenant buyer buys, but non-refundable if he doesn't. So we can save it, spend it, or give it to the charity of our choice. Okay, how about a third stream of profit? This is where this strategy gets interesting. If our tenant buyer buys the property, we will earn a back-end profit. This is the spread we create between the price that we pay the seller and the price our tenant buyer pays us. We subtract any option money paid to us plus any rent credits we agree to give the tenant buyer. Profit breakdown. 12 months at $500 positive cash flow equals $6,000. $10,000 option money equals $10,000. Total profit. $24,000. Not bad. Lease purchase investor. Hi Tommy, your option period is expiring. Are you ready to purchase? Tommy tenant buyer, no, I got a new Hummer last month, so I can't get a loan. Lease purchase investor, what would you like to see happen now? Tommy tenant buyer, well, I would like to have another year to buy the property. Lease purchase investor, well, I don't normally do this, but I guess I could possibly give you another year. You have accumulated all these rent credits and your option money. I would hate to see you throw that away. I'll tell you what, I will let you have another year to buy the property and you can keep the credits you've already accumulated if you can put up some kind of option payment for a second year. What kind of payment could you come up with? Tommy tenant buyer, well, between the new Hummer and poker nights, I am not sure I have much left over. Lease purchase investor, do you want the house or do you want poker nights? Tommy tenant buyer, I want the house. Lease purchase investor, alright, could you come up with something? Tommy tenant buyer, I guess I could come up with $4,000. Lease purchase investor, done. Here is a number to a good mortgage broker. He can tell you what you need to do to qualify in a year. Alright, I hear the skeptic screaming in my ear as I write this. What if the tenant buyers don't buy? My answer to this is awesome. That is not a misprint. You will make even more money if your tenant buyer does not buy after this first year. Let's take a look what happens next. Take a look at the conversation I would have with a tenant buyer. Subletting, second year option strategy 1. Subletting. Second year profits. $4,000 option money. $6,000 positive cash flow. $16,000 from first year. $26,000. Third year profits. $10,000 option money. $6,000 positive cash flow. $8,000 price spread. $26,000 profits from first 2 years. Minus $1,500 1 month vacancy. $48,500 in profits. Remember, we have 3 years to buy the property. However, we only give our tenant buyer a 1-year term. This way, we can collect renewals if the tenant buyer does not buy the first year. We can keep doing this every year until the tenant buyer buys, earning more positive cash flow along the way. Subletting, second year option strategy 1. Subletting. If the tenant buyer moves out, we clean the carpets, paint a little, and find a new tenant buyer. Instead of collecting renewal fees, we collect a big fat option deposit once again.